Hello everyone, Niev here, and today I am doing another episode, installment, whatever, of the my spread creation videos. So the last episode, I used the Spreadcrafters Quest, and we also used the Goblins and Gardens tarot deck and created kind of a little adventure sort of, or character creation, some sort of spread using those cards and using the Spreadcrafters Quest as the spread positions. So this episode, I decided to go a different route, and instead of using one of the Spreadcrafters decks, I'm going to use one of my Oracle decks. And I have here the Urban Crow Oracle, and here we go. So we've got the book here. I figured this would be a pretty good option for this sort of video, or for spread creation in general, because the keywords on this are really good, and they're not too terribly specific. They're broad enough that you can kind of come up with your own sort of interpretations, but of course there's a book with meanings and stuff for each of the cards. Oh, I pulled out an extra card here. Okay. So yeah, so you could do that, or just go off of general feeling of the card itself, the keyword and the image, and use those as spread positions. Yeah, and this is something you could do with pretty much any, well, you could do this with anything, but any Oracle deck, especially one that has keywords like this. So yeah, so I thought this might be a good idea to do something like that. And I am planning on doing at least 2 spreads in this video. One is just going to be a simple 3 card, and the other is going to be something very specific for this deck. And I did look through to see if there were spreads in this guidebook, but there aren't. So I'm just going to come up with something on my own, and I think it'll be kind of fun. So I might do, because I'm planning on doing a 3 card, but I might also try to do like a 4 card cross too. But I don't know. It might get too long if we do it that way. So I might just stick with the 2. Also, before I start doing this, I want to, I'm going to put this, actually I'm going to put this in the middle. I pulled out several different tarot decks that I could possibly use for this video. I think I'm just going to stick with one, but I don't know which one. And initially I was like, oh, you know what would be good with this? The Goblins and Gardens Tarot. But you know, obviously I used that in my last episode, so I don't want to use it again. So I went in my ritual room and grabbed a few decks, and I'm just going to use one. And, you know, these are just the ones that sort of called out to me as ones that might match with this, might go with this. But I feel like I'm going to pick a deck here, and then I'll find one in my ritual room and be like, oh my gosh, I should have used this for the video. But, oh well. So the decks that I pulled out. This one was a little bit of a no-brainer, because I feel like this deck goes with a lot of decks. This one kind of goes with everything. And this is, of course, the Midnight Magic Mushroom Tarot. Midnight Magic Mushroom Tarot. So, I mean, I do think this looks really good. Let me pull this down a little bit here. All right. Yeah, I mean, this obviously goes very, very well. Yeah, I mean, it looks great. I have no complaints about this at all. But I feel like it's a bit too obvious, and I don't know that I want to use the Mushroom Tarot with this right now. I could use it at a different time, but I don't know. Anyway, so there's option 1, the Mushroom Tarot, or Midnight Magic Tarot, whatever it's called. The next one is the Pope Tarot. I thought this might look good with it. Let me get it out of its bag here. All right, this could look good. Let's split this here. Very interesting. What do we think about this? And don't worry, I'm not going to do this for very much longer. I do like this. I kind of wish the borders, at least with this deck, I wish they were black for this. I think the white is a little too contrasty. What do you think? I mean, this looks cool. Territory with 9 of Wands and Strength. That's actually a really cool reading. Yeah, so I think this is a really good contender. I think this works pretty well and could be a really, I think this could be good. Okay, so let me try the next deck. Okay, so this one's kind of fun, but I think I thought maybe it could match, and that is the Star Trek Tarot, and this is the independent version, not the mass market TNG deck. This is the independent version. Now, I picked cards, or I picked decks that I thought had like darker coloring to them, because I think that's what I feel like goes with this Urban Crow. So let's see. How do we like this? So this has the black borders that I like, but the colors are a little too bright with this. I don't know. So 7 of Coins with the Fool and Balance. Right. Interesting. Grief between the Knight of Coins and the King of Rods. I mean, I do like the way this looks, but I think it might be too much. I think I'm going to say no to this one. Though I do like how some of the blues are pulled out here. Yeah, I think this is a no. It was an idea. It was an idea of when I was trying to find decks to go with this one. So I'm going to say no to that one. And I have one more to try out. Okay, finally I have the Tattoo Tarot, Ink and Intuition. And I thought this one would go because it's nice and simple. So I feel like this one might even be like a little bit of a cop-out because of the simple nature of the Marseille, the pips and that with this. But it does look pretty good. I mean, I got to give it that. Death and the Devil, wow. Between Mischief, wow. What a combination there. Let's see. It almost feels a little too busy, even though this is just a simple pip deck. It seems like it's not busy, but it is. I don't know how to explain that. But I do like this protection between the 4 of Swords and the 7 of Swords. That's actually really interesting. So, maybe I'm wrong with it being too busy. Maybe this is just right. All right. One more here. All right, so I'm going to spend a moment trying to decide, because I think it's between the Tattoo Tarot and the Pulp Tarot. So I'm going to spend some moments figuring this out. All right. These are the final 2. Let me see. This is tough. This is tough. I think I'm going to go with the Tattoo Tarot. All right, that's the winner. That's the one we're doing. Okay, so for this first reading, and in fact, I'm going to take a moment to just sip some of my coffee here. There we go. For this first reading, we're just going to do a simple 3 card. And there's no theme for the reading itself. We're kind of basing it off of whatever cards we get from here. So that's going to be the basis of the reading. The 3 cards we pull are going to kind of tell us, like, it's just a general reading. I think that's what I'm trying to say. This is just a general reading. So let's say if a client comes to me and they don't have any specific question in mind, maybe a sort of what needs to what do they need to hear right now sort of thing, just a general inquiry. So I might pull 3 cards from the Urban Crow Tarot to just kind of get some understanding of these positions. So, position 1, memory. Position 2, survival. And position 3, let's go with this one. Position 3, direction. Wow, this is actually really good. These 3 are fantastic. Because this is kind of a past, present, future sort of reading here. So that's actually really great here. And we can kind of look at the imagery of this and sort of get that sort of understanding. So I'm going to move some of these out of the way, and I'm going to move these down here because I'm going to put the Tattoo Tarot. It's going to be over top, but I don't want to completely cover the picture. And I definitely want the keywords down here. So a general reading here, and this could be for the collective as well. It is a sort of past, present, future. What memory is sticking with us? What are we, what have we progressed toward that we still have this memory going on in the background? And the card that I pull will describe that. How are we surviving this? How are we dealing? Like, what is our status? How are we trudging along here? And where is that direction? Where's that direction that we need to go in? All right, so I'm going to pull out my Tattoo Tarot here. This is a deck that I can't really riffle shuffle. It's a little too long for me. I could go through and like trim off all the edges. That would be helpful, I think. But I say that I'm going to do stuff like that, and then I never do it. So maybe it's a little bit of my fantasy self. My fantasy self says I will, mod a bunch of my decks, but then I never do it. So, all right. So, all right, so this is for the collective or this pretend client or something like that. All right, so what is a memory that we're trying to move past from? What's happened in our past? That's what's happened in this person's past, in our past, the collective, the pretend client, whatever, that we're trying to move past from, but it's still sticking in our memory. So let me pull a card for that. We have the Emperor. That's actually really interesting. Maybe I'll put this right above it so that we can still see the picture. I mean, I like the idea of doing this, but I kind of want to see the picture. Okay, so, and I think with the bigger reading I do, I'm just going to place the cards on top, and I will leave the keywords underneath. But anyway, so the Emperor is something from the past. Something very rigid. We could have a person in our life that's kind of embodied the Emperor sort of energy, very stifling maybe. This is something we're having trouble getting past. I mean, this could be a level of control. Maybe the client was in a very controlling situation where they had little wiggle room to really be expressive or creative or to go out on their own, and they were sort of locked into something, and maybe that's something that's still affecting them now. So how is this person surviving? How are they moving forward? Or, well, not so much moving forward, but how are they living in the present here? How are they surviving this? And we have the 10 of Coins. So there could be a very strong support system going on, and that is really helping. Like, I was thinking that maybe this could be a kind of oppressive parental figure, like a father. That's the typical where you would go for the Emperor, but it could be a mother. Maybe a very controlling environment that this person came from. But outside of that, they had a lot of support. So it could have been other family members, or it could be a good friend support, or there's a sense of legacy as well with the 10 of Coins. So this could also indicate a sort of like maybe this was an inheritance. I mean, I'm going in lots of different directions here, but an inheritance that has helped this person survive, but they still have the memory of their loved one that passed away, and maybe they had complicated feelings with that loved one. Maybe they were someone that they had a hard time with, but now they are, there's benefits still from that relationship, from that situation. Like it was a tough relationship or situation to be in, but it had a lot of benefits. It could be something like that. Of course, the whole inheritance thing is very specific, but like, it's just a general idea of what could be happening here. And so possibly a situation that you didn't have a lot of control in, like maybe you felt controlled, or you being the client or the collective, a situation where you felt very controlled in, and it's something that still affects you today. But you're managing as you go along because there were benefits from this, or there was a support system that really helped, and a sort of legacy that really helped you stay protected from this. And even though this situation is in the past, it's something that still affects you, but you're managing, and because of the other positive things in your life. All right. And then finally, how do we move forward from this? What is the direction? Let's go with this. 9 of Swords. So like a sense of rest. I feel like it's not a, like you need to physically rest, more so that you need to let this situation rest. Like it's time to move on from this. And we get this from this picture here with the direction, like we're moving on from it. It's something like I say we and you and things like that. It's general terms here. But what I'm saying is that we need to see what was affecting us, acknowledge it, but really focus on the positives that it brought, and all the other positives around our life, because this is such a positive card. This one is kind of neutral, and this one kind of negative, I guess, because there's a general sense of anxiety with the 9 of Swords. But I see this more as it's causing more stress than it needs to, and the direction tells us to move on, and really moving on from this. Give this a rest. Focus on this positive, the positive support system that you have, or we have, whatever, and let it rest. Let the situation rest. It's time to move on. All right, so that's how that reading might go with this. All right, so I want to do another reading using the Urban Crow as spread positions, and this one maybe a bit more specific to the Urban Crow itself. Now, I kind of came up with this based off of another reading that I would do last year. I'm not doing it this year, but last year for most of the new moons, I tried to do it for each one, but I missed some. But for the new moons, I would do a reading with On Morrigan. So I often used my other Crow deck, the Crow Tarot. And the spread I would do, and if I can find a picture of this, I will put it up on the screen. Yeah, so the spread I would do, it was shaped like a crow. And I used several different decks, because I also used a Lenormand for the tail. I used an Oracle for the center, and I used Tarot for the wings and the head, and then I even added in Ogham as land, sea, and sky sort of thing. So it was a really involved reading. I'm not going to go as involved with this one, but I like the idea of sticking with that general shape of the crow. And then that one is more specific to this. So just like with my first one, I'm starting off with the body. So again, there's no theme to this reading, but it is in the shape of a crow, so you could interpret that how you will. So the body of the situation, the center, displacement. Okay, that's I feel like the ultimate theme of this reading is the body. All right, so the body is displacement. And then we could have one card for the tail, one card for the head, and two cards angled for the wings. I think that might be fun. So displacement, and then I want to do the wings next as sort of added energy. What's sort of adding to this sense of displacement? So we have night, maybe something hidden, and abundance. Okay, so, and it is a bit night and day. So I feel like this is the theme. The body of the crow here is the theme of this reading. And we have displacement here. And then night, I feel like it could be a negative. Like we could see this as a negative and a positive. And night, I kind of want to see what the book says. So 33, because I am sort of reading it as a bit more of a negative, and even though there's nothing wrong with the night, it could be a hidden thing, something like that. But this seems a much more of a positive. So night, it is here that all the chatter, all the noise, all the action of the day subsides. Okay, so I feel like this one's very quiet and this one's very loud because it's abundance. So instead of a negative and a positive, maybe I can interpret this as a what's lacking and what we have in abundance, sort of. Yeah, we could go with that. Let's see. Night brings to your awareness your sleep hygiene, the ability to get a solid blah blah blah. Do you practice? Okay, so that wasn't as helpful. But the part where it's saying that nighttime is a quiet time, that I think I'm connecting to. So what's sort of lacking? What's hidden in the night that we're not seeing? We're lacking in that. And then what do we have in abundance? Okay. And then I think I'm going to do the tail. Yes. So I have illusion here. Let me move this up. Are you able to see this? I might have to zoom out because these are quite large. So we have the wings here. So illusion. Interesting. Okay, I zoomed out a little bit, hopefully so that there's enough room for the top one. Okay, so I think of illusion, and this position of the tail is, I feel like what's sort of guiding the situation, because I feel like the tail is what sort of guides the bird, keeps it steady. And illusion is sort of telling us that this is something that doesn't have a lot of stability to it. So what's keeping us in place but might feel temporary. So I think that's kind of how I'm interpreting that. And then the final one is going to be the head, and I think that the top one here, let's do this. Communication. Okay, that's a good one there. And I'm going to try to do the best. It's got to overlap a little bit. Sorry. It's not a huge spread, but like they are big cards. So, and let's do this to help this out a little bit. So what we have here, communication is on the head. So what do we need to voice? And I feel like that's the final position. So this is the theme of the reading, displacement. We're feeling out of place here. What is sort of, what are we lacking and what do we have in abundance? And what is keeping us steady, but is something that may not last? And what do we need to communicate? Okay, so I think that's where we're going with this one. So I'm going to really quickly shuffle this. Oops, hello. Hate that sometimes when I'm not a very good overhand shuffler. So I do really prefer when I'm able to riffle shuffle a deck. But problem is I have really tiny hands, so it kind of prevents me from using that form of shuffling with a lot of different decks, because so many decks nowadays are so thick and big, and I like I don't necessarily need a mini deck, but I like the decks that have thinner cardstock. It's just a little easier for me to shuffle. All right, so displacement. How are we feeling displaced right now? And this is a general we, by the way. Ace of Swords, which is very funny. I'm going to move this like that. Okay, so Ace of Swords is a card that I associate a lot with communication. And I feel like maybe we're feeling maybe because the Ace of Swords, it's a card of communication, which is funny that it's under the communication position there. But it's also a card of like clarity and truth, and maybe we're feeling displaced because we're not quite understanding what the truth is, what the truth of a situation is, and we're feeling displaced on that, and we're feeling like we can't communicate because we're not exactly understanding what the situation is, where the truth lies in the situation. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going with that. So I would say on the next part, what's hidden? What are we not really seeing here? What are we lacking? I think that's where I was going with this. What's been quieted down and what's lacking? And we have the Emperor, a sense of control over the situation. Sorry, just had to cough there. So a sense of control over the situation. And we're lacking this control. This is what's dormant for us, a lack of control over the situation. Something's going on that we're not quite understanding what's happening, what the truth of the situation is. And we kind of lack control over it. It's out of our hands right now. We can't really do much. And then what do we have in abundance for this situation? Two of Cups. Actually, that's quite nice. So I feel like this is something that's coming from a loving place here. There is a lot of love and care for what's going on. So this isn't something where there's a lot of like strong anger. I think maybe this is why this person might be feeling a bit displaced, is because there is a good situation going on. There's a partnership of some kind, or a level of compassion going on for this situation that I think the person for the reading has this in abundance. There's again with support, kind of like with the last reading. I get with this as well. There's a level of support that we have here in abundance. So it's not like there's animosity for this. It's just a situation where that's out of our control, that we don't quite know what the truth is, or where or how to handle it, or we don't quite have clarity on this. The clarity is what's being displaced right now. It's out of our control, but there is a lot of compassion and understanding on an emotional sense. The practicality, I guess, I don't know if practicality is the right word, but like there's something that is out of our control, but there's a sense of compassion toward it. There's a sense of understanding and compassion. All right, so what's driving this situation that may be temporary, or maybe we're putting too much thought into, something like that, because it is an illusion, but it's what's sort of driving this whole thing here. And I got the 8 of Coins. Okay. I'm going to try to tuck this underneath and reorganize this a little bit so that so we can do this. Here we go. All right, trying to keep everything in frame here. All right, so 8 of Coins. I mean, we've got that, the anvil and the hammer here. So it's, I think we've been trying to keep ourselves busy on this. We're just trying to keep ourselves busy. But at some point, we've got to sort of face this and understand this. So that's what's been keeping us stable right now for this situation. We're feeling displaced because there's a situation that is just out of our control, and we don't quite know where to go from this, because we don't have a lot of control in this situation, but there's a lot of love and understanding that's going on. So there is care and understanding. Like, this is not a situation where there's a lot of animosity or anger or something like that. And I think maybe one thing that sort of popped in my head is an idea that we're sort of feeling like we can't speak up about such a situation because we don't want to step on any toes. We don't want to lose this sense of compassion or a friendship, maybe, or a friendship, a partnership, a partner, or something. We don't want to come off as not caring. So we have this, but maybe this is feeling a bit too overwhelming. I guess that would depend on what the last card would be. I'm just kind of going as we go here. And what's been keeping us going is a sense of just keeping our mind off of it and being like a busy bee, sort of. That's sort of how I'm feeling with this. We've been going on this path and feeling displaced, but what's been keeping us going is the other things in our lives that we need that we're focusing on, that we're getting lost in. But this is something that's not going to last because it is an illusion. And keeping busy might keep our mind off of it for a little bit, but it is something we're going to have to eventually communicate and face. All right, so the final card here. What do we need to communicate about this? What do we need to just finally say? The Moon. Oh my goodness. This is like the worst card that I would get for myself if I did this. Because, man, I really dislike the Moon card in general because it's such an obscure thing. Yeah. So the reason I have an issue sometimes with the Moon is because it is for me, it's kind of the on a magic 8-ball, it's the answer unclear, try again, ask again. That's what it feels like. That's what the Moon often feels like for me. But it could also be a secret, something we've been keeping in that we have not been letting out. And maybe we're upset about, we're concerned about upsetting someone that this secret might affect. And I think that might be what the whole thing here is. I think that the client here, or the person, is feeling a sense of displacement because there's a hidden truth. Oh boy, I almost sneezed. And I think I might in a moment. So if you hear it, sorry. I'll try to edit it out if I happen to sneeze. All right, so I think now that this whole reading is out, there's a certain secret going on. That there is something hidden that maybe we know about, the client. Maybe the client knows about this. There's something that they can't reveal, and the reason is because it's something sort of out of their control, and they're worried about upsetting someone that they love or care about. So they've kind of been distracting themselves with this illusion and keeping busy and trying to hone in on this, but it's something that needs communicated, because this hidden secret is something that does need to eventually come out. So at this point, I would say it might be time for that situation, that secret, that whatever's happening, it might be time to reveal that, because it is causing a lot of displacement. And I might, if this were the reading and that were the situation, I might do a separate reading about this person and how to best navigate, because I feel like that would be a separate reading. I feel like this one is just saying this needs to happen, that secret, that situation, it's time to reveal it, it's time to come out with it. Yes, you may hurt your loved one, but it's time for it to come out. And I might do if that was a situation for a client, I would probably do a separate reading going over how how might be best to handle this situation with the friend or with the other person or something like that. All right, so that was actually a really interesting reading. I liked going a little bit at a time, each card going at a time, and just sort of piecing together the story. And it was kind of interesting using all these crow cards as the positions. All right, so that is the end of the episode here. So we did 2 spreads here. We did a simple 3-card reading that turned into a more past, present, future sort of reading. At least that's what it seemed like to me. Play. That's fun. Play with, let's see, the Magician. We'll do Play with the Magician. All right. Yeah, so we did a simple 3-card reading that was kind of a past, present, future, and figured out a mock reading there. And then we did one that was in the shape of a crow with some different shaped or different angled cards, and that one was a bit more like the center card really dictated what the reading was about, and then each of the positions around that sort of added to that story. So that was pretty fun. All right, so tell me what you think. Would you try any of these? Maybe doing a repeat spread and not even using the cards, but using those same sort of keywords and doing a sort of a reading like that, you know? That might be cool, where what's displacing us, what are we lacking, what do we have in abundance, what's keeping us going right now but is something that's not going to last, and finally, what do we need to communicate? Yeah, you know, that is something like you don't even need the Crow Tarot or Urban Crow Oracle for that. You could use just those positions and come up with use that as a sample reading. All right, so thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye.